All right, so call the meeting to order of the Economic Development Council for the July 14th meeting. For the record, this meeting is being recorded, televised in accordance with all, public meeting laws. Well, we'll start with a quick roll call. I see Mr. Boyer.
Here.
Select Board Member Fulgenetti.
Here.
Ms. Danielson.
Here.
And Mr. Lopes.
Here.
And Dan Smith here. So the first item on the agenda was just the meeting minutes from June 9th. Unless anybody has any modifications, just look for a motion to approve the minutes.
I think I sent a note. I think the date in the minutes for the event might have been wrong. Did I send that, Stephanie, or was I just thinking to send it?
You were correct, and okay. I believe we corrected that.
Okay.
It's funny, yes, we corrected that in the minutes.
Okay, terrific. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, Boyer?
Aye.
Smith, yes. Fulgenetti?
Yes.
Danielson?
Yes.
Lopes? So the next item is the program that Dottie was just alluding to, the business forum that I believe we have scheduled for. Is the day correct on the agenda for August 18th at 7 a.m. to be hosted at Northeastern Savings Bank?
Yep.
Nice. So we do have a STAR agenda, I believe, that was put together at the last meeting. I think if we want to just start there, I'll jump to what we have for a STAR agenda, and then if we want to add anything to it.
So Dan, before you do that, if I could provide an update.
Sure.
So Dottie, as chair of the select board, Connor, as the town administrator, and I as the planning director, were asked by the Easton Chamber of Commerce if we would join them at one of their breakfast meetings, just to kind of talk about what's happening in town, what's new going on, and do kind of Q&A. And we had all responded affirmatively. Then Darcy Piver, who is she president now, Dottie?
I'm not sure. I think she's executive director of the Y.
She's executive director of the Y, but I'm sorry, I meant of the chamber, but she sits on the chamber's board.
No, she's not. I don't know if she is, but what?
But in any case, she suggested a date in August, and Dottie came back and mentioned that we were doing a business forum, and I think Dottie suggested we do it together, or maybe Darcy came back. But anyway, it seemed like a great idea. They were very amenable to that. So unless the board really has an issue with that otherwise, this will be a joint business forum between the Economic Development Council and the Easton Chamber of Commerce.
Sounds great.
Okay, so that being said, we've only added one thing to the agenda at the end. So Dan, I don't know if I didn't want to jump in if you want to go through what the proposed agenda was.
Yeah, just so everybody can hear at home, to whoever's listening, the agenda that we had via the minutes was the COVID recovery check-in, the Discover Easton campaign, Easton tourism, and business owner success stories. So I think that was included but not limited to, and we're going to kind of discuss if we wanted to modify, expand. Aside from that, I would say, just like any meeting, we have open discussion. I think feedback from the business community and open discussion is an important item. I don't think it necessarily has to be listed on the agenda, but aside from that, I know Dottie, you and Stephanie have put a lot of time into organizing this along with Connor. So, and of course, Mark. So
the one thing that we had, this was suggested at the last meeting, was that we have guest speakers. So I did reach out to Margaret LaForest from the Massachusetts Office of Business Development to ask if she or her counterpart, Susan Whitaker, they are both Greater Greater Boston Regional Directors for the MOBD. If they would be interested in being our guest speakers, and she responded affirmatively. It will either be her or Susan or both of them. I know that they do frequently travel in pairs. So thought that we might lead off with that and then go into the other items, and then we could wrap up with a Q&A with the Easton municipal leaders.
Dottie, anything to add?
I think that's great. I think that we should really have all of the people on this commission do some outreach to specific businesses.
Mhm.
For instance, I'd, really like to reach out to my dentist. I go, she's down in that area, and she was really appreciative of some of the work that we had done through COVID to help her. And if we're looking at success stories, I think that might be, I know that we have some success stories like Neil Levine and people that we've always done, but I think we should try to really reach out and think of people that haven't really come to any of these meetings before that might have something a little bit different or interesting. If we could all think as a committee to make sure that we bring somebody on. I look at it as like probably more of a discussion when people are there. A couple of people might want to, interject their quick story. And I'd also like to make sure that we have a handout to give people, and it could really be what we have put on the website, which is the resources like the SBA resources and Center for Women in Enterprise, and things for small business resources to actually give them a place to look. And certainly the Discover Easton flyer. We really need to do a push to make sure people are using that businesses have that posted, in their business, to let people know, like, download this app and look for us on there. This next year, we're going to be really trying to measure whether it's helping or not helping, or just a really cool thing. If it's not really driving business, then it might not be renewed next year. So I think we need to look, give people something to take with them.
Yeah, so direct outreach by each of the committee members, and then I imagine Easton Chamber will, reach out to their member list, and maybe they've got an alternate list of non-members that they could help us spread the word. What about asking Chris over at Metro South if they could populate an email on our behalf for their Easton business members? Is that something I could reach out to Chris or Dottie? I know that you're within an earshot of him if he's around today.
He might even hear us through the wall.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Bruce, let's get all of Stonehill College to attend.
Okay, so we do have, that was one of the things I wanted to mention. I did get a response from Courtney Palm about hosting it. She was very enthusiastic and wanted to know numbers. So I told her probably 25 to 30 based on previous forums that we've had. Of course, if the chamber is part of this, it's going to be bigger. So I did let her know that it could be more. I asked her to just let me know what our limits are, because then what I'm thinking is we do an RSVP and have people respond. That would give us a good idea of who's attending, and then also make sure we don't overload the room. I have not heard back from Courtney. I'm sure, like everyone else, she's very busy. But I left a message and I've called her, and probably have Tish try to reach her again today to see if we can kind of find out what that number is. In the meantime, I did have Tish draft, and I think it looks like she's getting ready. Oh, there's Chris.
Multitasking Chris, crushing the day.
I did ask Tish if she would kind of throw together a draft flyer that we could review and talk about. And the idea is this would be a piece that we would mail out to the businesses for which we don't have email addresses. We'd incorporate it into an email, that we can email to the businesses for whom we have email addresses. We use it on our social media. So it's really, you know, a piece that will adjust and adapt. So I'm going to ask if Tish, if everyone's okay, I'm going to ask Tish to share her screen and show us what she threw together. And again, this is rough. There was one concept I liked for its visuals. We definitely want the Economic Development Council logo with probably the Envision Easton. That's what we've been using on the website. But again, just want to hear what people have to say. So this was the one that I saw first and I liked. Yeah, why don't we have just go through them and then we can.
It'd be nice if we could get pictures of Margaret and Susan to, I think they probably have their LinkedIn photos or something we could put up there.
Okay, so I don't think, I hadn't seen those. I think the first one's probably the first few.
You didn't see the charts. I did that while you were in your meeting.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that's what we were looking for, so. No, Tish, if you could go back and open it and just go back to the first few slides. Thoughts, comments? So I did make a note of seeing if we could get pictures.
So Margaret and Susan are probably going to want to share some slides, right, to incorporate into this deck to go over what, or is?
So this is not a slide presentation. This is just to show you what the ideas were for the flyer.
Oh, for the flyer? Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, I can understand why you would have thought that.
So Stephanie, what are we commenting on then? The format, this, go ahead.
Yeah, the format and the information that we're going to put on the flyer. So again, unless people, I mean, is there one of the first three that showed that people feel will work? Do you think these won't work? And I'm sorry.
I think we need to see it in the flyer format. It's hard to,
Right.
know,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to put on the flyer.
Yeah.
It's important to me that if we use images that there's some diversity in the images, not just of all like, race,
Yeah.
but gender and so forth as well. So I feel like there was an attempt at that on this first one with all the hands, but to me, that looks like a bunch of white collar business executives. And I don't want to be critical about it, but I just want to make sure that if we're looking at images that we're reflecting the type of businesses that we have in the community as well.
That's a really good point, Dottie. And again, I asked to put this together this morning. I liked the idea of the hands coming together, but
Right.
that was my first reaction too. In fact, it's kind of funny when we looked at it, it looked like, but yes, we would want something that was more diverse.
I think if we're doing a flyer, we're not going to have a lot of room for images. I think that what Dan is suggesting is having Margaret and Susan's images as the images on the flyer as the guest speakers and then probably like some kind of a graphic. I don't even know if there'll be a lot of room for this with the amount of content that you want to put on there.
Yeah.
But we could be, we could do, in addition to the flyer, if we're putting it on social media, we could look at Canva graphics to do something to kind of
Mhm.
match it for social media. And, you know, Matt's not on the call today. I don't know if that's something he'd want to do. I can certainly do it. It's, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And I would volunteer to do that if you wanted me to do it. I don't know if we have enough time to think too much about this, because we really do want to get
We
it
need
on
to get
people's
it.
calendars.
Right.
So I think what we just want is a few bullet points for the agendas. I don't think we want a lot of words on there. I do like the cleanness of the post-COVID business summit. I like that language. And we'll probably want to put the logos of the chambers, you know,
Yeah.
if Metro South contributes to it also, we should probably put their logo, the Easton Chamber, and then the Discover Easton, I mean, not Discover Easton, the, what do you call it? Envision Easton. Too many names.
And Dottie, to that point, it looks like Northeastern Savings Bank, are they
Oh.
sponsored? I'm sorry?
It should be Northeastern.
Okay. So Northeastern Savings Bank, are they sponsoring it at their location? If so, do we, as a courtesy, add their logo as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We're looking to make this an annual thing, I would assume, right?
Yes.
So I would almost want to get rid of the post-COVID and just call it the Easton Business Summit 2022 and kind of set the tone that we're, you know, kind of recapping the year, but this is expected to be an annual thing and not just a one-off. Does that?
That's fine. We should also have a reference to the YMCA in there, because I think they, if I remember correctly, offered to buy the refreshments.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, what was that, Dottie?
I was just going to say, if we're putting the logos and the references to partnerships, we should include the YMCA if they're going to, you know, they offered to buy the refreshments.
Oh, that's funny. I took Darcy to mean the chamber, but you're right. She probably meant the Y. I'll clarify that with her. So basically, if we can get pictures of Margaret and Susan, we would use that. We'll format this such. And then again, the information, it would look, we'd have like place, location, whatever. That's correctly, and then logos.
And I think
Dottie.
the day of, Mark would be the master of ceremonies, and you know, he'll just keep. We want to keep it to an hour, so we really need to be reflective of how much time we want to spend on each topic, and you know, kind of give Mark the signal if we're going over in one area or not. So I always find that helpful if I'm going to be the master of ceremonies at something. If somebody kind of gives me the cue, like you're running over on this time or that, like there's always good to have a time check person.
That never happens.
Not with me. I'm a fast talker.
Okay, so we'll do this. We'll reach out and see if we can get those pictures from Margaret and Susan. I'll ask a protocol question. Dan, you mentioned they probably have pictures on their LinkedIn. I usually like to ask people before
Oh, of course, yeah.
putting their pictures on anything. Is there a protocol like that when you're in the public realm? I don't know, Dottie, what do you think?
Their pictures
Get their
are on all
permission
the
first.
metros. Anytime they speak at the Metro South.
Dottie,
all
you're
those
not hearing you.
No?
I can hear you, Dottie.
Their pictures are usually on anything, like if they're a speaker at the Metro South Chamber, they're usually on there. But as a courtesy, you may want to send them a copy of the flyer and just say, is it okay to use your image? It doesn't
Yeah.
hurt to do that. That way you're covering all the bases.
Great, okay.
Stephanie, when do you plan on publishing the flyer?
I would like to start sending this out Monday.
So would it make sense
Because
to
we'll
send
have a
it?
month ahead of time. So
Okay.
we'll. and
Does
we'll-
it make, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
No worries. No, I was just going to say, does it make sense to do a mock-up flyer, send it to the board, and we can provide feedback maybe by Friday or Monday the latest?
Yep.
And just for the new people that aren't super familiar with open meeting, just reply back to Stephanie with your comments and don't reply all, because you can't communicate by email in that way on a committee.
Keeping us out of trouble, Dottie. So we'll circulate a draft of this, an updated draft, and kind of Stephanie will be a point on making any updates or getting those over to you and Dottie. Is that the plan? Doing that between today and tomorrow? If we're looking to get this out Monday?
We're looking to get it out Monday. We'll send the draft out. People will get back to us. What I would like to do is send it back. And then, but if, get any additional comments you have by X time. Otherwise, you'll be going live.
Okay.
Is that what you were saying, Dan?
Yep.
I have a very noisy air conditioner running in a very small office, and it's hard for me to hear.
Dottie needs to speak up. What about, let's do a raffle. I'll figure out what it is, like Red Sox tickets or something. So I don't know if we want to get, yeah, so if we want to get like contact information of people attending, or if there's some information that would be beneficial, sign up for the Easton app to be eligible. I can get a couple of tickets to a Sox game and put that up.
If you're going to do that, that's a draw, and we should put that on the flyer.
Yep.
That's what the Easton I know Metro South does that, and I think Easton Chamber does it as well.
Yeah.
So if you could just let us know what that will be, that's great.
Yeah, just put it on there. I'll figure out the dates, or whoever gets it, we'll coordinate.
Okay. Yeah.
Coordinate a date. Bruce will have to take him for a tour.
Again.
Okay.
Awesome.
And Dottie talked about the meeting promotion and, having the board members, that I had that on there on the agenda as well. So.
All right, so I don't know if there's any, moving on, if there's any district updates that we want to go through, if anybody's heard any news, good, bad, or.
So Greg's not here, and he and I have talked about this. He has a very planned, like he did last week.
Yeah.
I think he talked about the Five Corners district, right? Yeah. And so I'd rather not just kind of jump in and preempt that. Yeah. Myself, leave it for him.
Hey, Bruce, can you talk a little bit about some of the facility updates being made at Stonehill now that your program's been modified to a D? What division now is the sports program?
We've been upgraded to D1 right now, and which is very exciting for the college. Right now, the only facility upgrades that we're doing is we're replacing our tennis courts as we speak. We really don't have a grasp yet of what we're going to need to do for everything else. There's a lot of talk about a lot of stuff. So I can see that probably over the next 4 to 5 years, it'll be really busy here just with the athletics, never mind. Right now we're upgrading several residence halls. So Yeah, trying to keep the kids on campus. Let's hope it works.
And I'm wondering if there's an economic development driver for the town here now that you're a D1 college and the programs are going to be, you know, a whole new portfolio of colleges that'll be coming to town, and how we can be a part of that. But that's fantastic news. I know that's one huge update for the college and for the region. It's exciting news.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
And then the last item we had, outreach support. Congratulations. I know Easton resident Tim DeBona he did a ribbon cutting yesterday in a neighboring town of Stoughton for a healthcare facility that was, you know, well attended, and we'll have to follow up with Tim to make sure the next time he opens up a place, he's coming on our side of the border. But congratulations to Tim and his organization, and I know that's a big win for the region as well, providing some important healthcare services to our young people. So I don't know if anybody else has heard anything, seen anything else, Chris, Dottie, Steph, Bruce, but Dottie's got her finger on the pulse, but she's multitasking.
Yeah. I am multitasking. I'm sorry. I got a lot of moving parts right now. I don't really have any updates to new businesses.
I have a general question. On Washington Street near Buddy's Villa, what's going on over there? Is that tied to the overall economic development?
No, those are the new pickleball courts that were, that's a project through the Recreation Commission, and it is funded with CPA funds. They're adding 6 new pickleball courts and expanding the parking area there.
Are they also going to fix the tennis court and the basketball court so that whole area looks
that wasn't part of the overall plan right now. I do expect, just from some conversations internally, that may be a project in the future. It was suggested at the time, and it was decided to just move forward with the pickleball courts right now.
So Bruce, is that tied back to your overall D1 aspirations and moving up to, what is it, FCS, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to be part of our D1 program, but I'll suggest it.
They're hearing like it is the most popular sport right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There is one new business thing that just came to mind. Thai Theory, that is a Thai food restaurant that used to be in Brockton. They are supposed to be opening in the Marketplace building, which is the Octagon building on Washington Street. I don't have a time frame for that, but the select board did vote to issue them a common vic license to begin that process. And I tested out a new thing. I created a template letter and sent it to them, thanking them for choosing Easton, welcoming them to the community, and giving them some links to how to download the app and things like that. Just like, you know, I think I did sign up for the town crier. Here's the town's website, and just like 3 little bullet points. And we're gonna, you know, it's a bandwidth thing, of course. Again, I'm trying to put this on Mark's lap, but we're gonna try to reach out when new businesses do that.
Dottie, remember I said the other day there was something I wanted to talk to you about?
Yeah.
That was it. And it's funny because I just had my bi-weekly meeting with Connor, so he'd be like, wait a minute. But what I was thinking is, if that's a template, that and so you knew about the business opening because it had to go for their common vic license before the select board. If we can get that information in our office, I mean, we're not notified when new businesses happen unless they come through our office. They're getting a permit or something like that. But certainly, because you created such a wonderful template that's really applicable to any new business, that's something we could do and we could mail out. And we could either hold it for Mark's signature, you know, it could come from the Economic Development Council, or maybe from the EDC and the Select Board, and we could hold it for your signatures, or, you know, we could have electronic signatures as well. But that's, and I'm, you know, when I say we can, I mean Tish, that's something Tish can do, but I think she would be happy to do that.
Well, we could also, you know, have one that doesn't have a Dear Dan Smith aspect to it, and put that same thing and ask the clerk's office that, you know, if people are coming for a business license or certificate, could they must give them something, right?
Yeah, so, yeah, and I could ask them if when they're doing that, and I mean, again, periodically, we can get a list of the business certificate filings. The thing is, not every business gets their business certificate.
Right. But we would get some of them that way.
We
You know,
would.
if we do,
We would.
if the sources we have are, if they come before the select board for a license,
Yeah,
or if they get a business certificate, we're at least going to be checking off a number of them. I know there's still some that don't have to do that stuff, but
right.
it, you know, it's better than what we're doing now, which is nothing.
Nothing. And but I really do like the salutation to the recipient, because it,
Right.
it has a personal touch to it. And I think it conveys a message that we care, the town cares about the business coming here.
Well, then maybe once a quarter we get that
Yeah.
listing. If somebody has like a reminder to reach out to the clerk and
Yeah.
and get those listings, we can send those out.
Yeah,
And because that is also a part of really promoting the app and trying to get the maximum use
Yes.
out of that we can this year.
all right, I'll talk with Tish and we'll figure out how we can get the information and do that.
Great.
So Dottie, question for you. You said it's the Octagon building on Washington Street. I think almost a year ago, there was a conversation that potentially there could be something else there. Like, I thought it was like a music studio or a nightclub or something. That I think that was one of the first meetings I attended. Is that still in the works, or is that?
I think,
Not that I know of.
I think I mentioned that, and the use they wanted it for was like a club, and that's
Okay.
not one of the uses that is identified as allowed in any of our districts. They never came back. I mean, I don't think we'd even communicated that to them at the time, but they never came back. And it was something that I talked with the chair of the planning board about, if
Mhm.
that's something that maybe at some point in the future, the town would want to consider. Otherwise, that type of business would require a variance from the zoning board of appeals.
Understood. And then the other new business, it looks like it's opening, Dottie, is that a smoke shop in Roach Brothers Way? Is that something new that's happening too?
Yeah, that, you know what, we have heard about that there is a new smoke shop opening up.
Now, does that come through this certification process, or is that something else?
They don't need a permit from the planning board, and they don't really need site plan review because it's a retail establishment very similar to what was there already. But I think they need a building permit, so we can get that information from the building department.
Okay.
I think this is really great because having eyes on, you know, wherever people live in town. I live up near Roach Brothers. I drive by it every day. I never even noticed that. But like when we do see a new business that comes in, that we can kind of collaborate it and share it with this group so that we do make sure that we catch those. So thank you, Chris, for bringing that up. Great.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something too, because if someone's moving in, generally, if someone needs a building permit, we, through our online permitting system, we're asked to comment on that, generally. But depending on the work, not always. So we will continue to keep an eye on that, and we can do that with this letter. We'll have information, which would be great. But if people are seeing businesses, if you just want to shoot an email, like, gee, I saw this new business open, then we can look into that and see if it's something we've already sent a letter to. So we can work on coming up with a process generally and communicate that back to the council and then start acting on it. But yeah, I mean, if people are seeing things, because we don't always see it.
Nice. Well, unless there's any other business at hand, you know, I think we should just hope everybody has a great weekend. See you in a couple weeks. And somebody can make a motion to adjourn, unless there's any other comments, questions, anything else.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Full Janetti Boyer. So Bruce?
yep.
Smith, yes. Full Janetti?
Yes.
Lopes?
Yes.
Ms. Danielson?
Yes,
Take it home. All right.
thank
Have a
you.
good
Have
weekend.
a great
Thank you.
weekend, everybody. Great
Bye,
rest of the
everyone.
week.
Bye.
See ya.